What's going on? We back. Motor City Sports Talk. We in the building. Talk about the Detroit Pistons, man. I wasn't going to let, the day go by without doing one more video. We did two earlier, two Lions videos. I definitely appreciate everybody that helped us push to 1,000 subscribers. Let's continue to keep this movement going. And we did it in way under a year. I started this page in September. So, it definitely grew faster than my other page, and that's accredited to everybody. All the good feedback, all the debates we having, that's good money, man. Sometimes we just gonna agree to disagree and find out who's right and who's wrong. I definitely appreciate each one of y'all, and there's not too many people that got disrespectful, with me, and I stopped the page for a few months. Most people know the issues we had with the page, but we overcame it. It was a lot of positive feedback, and I love the positive feedback that I got and the encouragement to keep it moving. And we're going to keep it moving, man. Like I said, I have something very special in store coming, this fall for the Lions seasons in particular. And I just can't wait to unveil it when I actually close the deal down. So today, we speaking on two players. If the Pistons are going to be anything other than a 6th, 7th seed, 8th seed, and make the playoffs and be a top 5 player in the Eastern Conference, in my opinion, it's going to come down to two youngsters in their development. Stanley Johnson, which we could see he got the potential to be probably a premier perimeter defender, and his offensive development is what we talking about, is to be key. And Luke Kennard, just overall development. And I get caught up in the Luke Kennard thing, being mad about the Donovan Mitchell situation, but truth be told, Luke Kennard looked good last season, man. He was one of my favorite Pistons when I watched him. He's just not a shooter, he's a scorer, but guess what? When you give him an open shot, he ain't no Kyle Singer. He gonna knock it down. And the Pistons need that. He's a shot creator. He's a shot maker. And there's always room for guys that's a shot creator and a shot maker. And not only that, he's kind of athletic too. He's not like Kyle Korver or some unathletic white guy. He can put the ball on the court, and he can move side to side, and he can move front to back pretty fast. So, but these two is absolutely going to be the reason why the Pistons are going to propel. And I know people looking for Reggie Bullock to make some noise. And when Reggie Bullock got traded from the Clippers years ago, I told people that was a steal. They put him in the deep freeze like Spencer Dinwiddie and Chris Middleton. So I'm glad he got his opportunity before he went somewhere else and blew up. I got to say that. And Reggie Bullock is an honorable mention in this situation. But the reason I picked these two guys is because if they can start knocking down open shots, and can give you some good play on the perimeter, the Pistons got something, man. They really do. Because Reggie Bullock is going to knock down open shots. It's just Reggie Bullock just continue to develop like Stanley Johnson. He got to learn to put the ball on the court. Stanley Johnson can do that, man. I don't know what's going on with Stanley Johnson's development. I know his mother was sick. I don't know if she ended up I think she ended up passing. So I know a lot of things going on. You get that money and then people changing. And people forget the off-court effects of basketball and getting millions. And people think you got millions and everything is okay. Things don't become okay. Like Biggie said, more money, more problems. So hopefully this kid can figure it out because he has potential. He does. He wouldn't have went that high that year if he didn't. They picked him over Justice Winslow, and Justice Winslow ain't did a damn thing as well neither. So Stanley Johnson's going to be very, very critical. Do we need Stanley Johnson to be, Captain America or LeBron James or Kawhi Leonard or Paul George or Jimmy Butler? Not what they are now, but he has the ability to be what Jimmy Butler became. Jimmy Butler locked himself in the gym basically a whole summer. No TV, no furniture, was hooping. He was just like Stanley Johnson, but a little bit better offensively. But he was a defensive stopper that could stop LeBron, but he couldn't put points on LeBron. Remember at the time, it was the Bulls battling the Miami Heat and LeBron James, whoever they was battling, okay? Jimmy Butler improved his offensive game. By that time that happened, D Rose had got hurt and they stuttered. But he went from a great defender to an all-around great ball player. Same thing for Kawhi Leonard. He came in the league with a reputation of not much of an offensive game, but great defense. He completed the cycle by becoming a good offensive player. We need Stanley Johnson to complete that metamorphosis. You got the defense, young fella. You need to make the shot. You need to work on your shot this summer. And not only just that, we need you to be able to create some shots and put the ball on the floor and get to the bucket. Seriously, we really need that development out of him. He developed offensively and give him that third wheel, or really the third wheel. I don't consider Reggie Jackson the third wheel. But if he can give the Pistons a third wheel and hit open shots, we need him to do more than hit open shots. Put the ball on the floor, get to the bucket. Stanley Johnson has the body and the potential to be an all-star, man. I said it when he got drafted. He had the potential. He's a good ball player. And I bet if you put him in the gym and out on the NBA floor in the NBA game, he'll dominate. He got the body. He got the strength. He got to develop, man. He got to put the work in the summer like Jimmy Butler did. And I bring Jimmy Butler up because you could see it when Jimmy Butler said it. He said, I didn't do nothing but hoop this year. I didn't go out partying. I stayed in my house, no furniture, ate, sleep, and hooped. That's all I did. Ate, slept, and hooped. And you can see it. His game went from a good player, an average NBA player, above average NBA player, to an all-star. And we need that jump from Stanley Johnson. And what he do in the offseason, I couldn't tell you. I don't really follow him on social media, follow a lot of guys. But I need him to hoop. I need him to develop. Because if he develop and become what he should be, Pistons top 14. Just by him developing and reaching his potential or scratching his potential. Dude that can get to the bucket. A dude that can elevate and be ferocious in the rack. And he can add a jumper in the mid-range game. All the tools there for Stanley Johnson, man. Mentally is what's holding him back. And maybe having all that money and life problems, but he got the potential. That wasn't a bad pick that the Pistons picked. That was a popular pick because before the draft, we all wanted Stanley Johnson because that's what he fought. It was either him or Justice Winslow because people knew what Stanley Johnson could become, but he didn't develop. And I think they left him on the bench too long, like they do a lot of other young guys, and they lose confidence. And by that time, they need to change the scenery, and they go to Milwaukee, they go to Brooklyn, or Orlando, wherever they go, and they blow up and become a better player. The Pistons wasn't winning nothing. They should have threw this kid in there and let him play. But they did that with Luke Kennard. After a while, they realized, like, you know what? We got to let Luke Kennard play. And guess what? Luke Kennard got better. Luke Kennard got hot. Luke Kennard can shoot. Luke Kennard can drive. Luke Kennard can make some plays, too. Luke Kennard can play. He wasn't a bad pick. It just looked bad because of what Donovan Mitchell became. But Luke Kennard wasn't a bad pick. Luke Kennard can shoot. Luke Kennard can get to the bucket. And if Luke Kennard continue to develop and work hard and work on his body, Luke Kennard going to be a good player. Luke Kennard is going to be able to play in and out and 1-2 basketball and pick and roll situations with Drummond. Luke Kennard probably can develop into a point guard if he wanted to. If they could really tame him. He have a better opportunity being the point guard of the future for the Pistons than Reggie Jackson. Because Reggie Jackson, his mentality holds him back. Reggie Jackson legitimately thinks he's a great player. He thinks he's in the same breath as John Wall, Russell Westbrook, and guys of that ilk and that nature. But he's not. Once he leaves that ego and that mentality at the door and come into the locker room and come into the Pistons organization and be willing to learn, he'd be a better player. But guess what? He didn't. He don't. He got that money. He just felt himself. But I think grooming Luke Kennard to be the point guard in the future, I believe, before Reggie Jackson, possible. But I really like Luke Kennard. You know, I got to be on record saying that because I can't continue to keep bashing the Donovan Mitchell thing and act like Luke Kennard was the worst pick they could have picked. Luke Kennard could hoop. And I'm glad they let Luke Kennard hoop. They let him play. And you found out he could play. When you're not playing for nothing, and I consider playing for the 7th seed, you're not playing for nothing. You're playing for a tragedy in the first round. But when you're not playing for them, let the young guys play. Let Henry Ellison play. You know, don't keep plugging John Lure in there. You know, don't keep plugging Eric Moreland or Moreland, whatever that guy's name in there. Let Ellison play. You know, let Luke Kennard play. Let Stanley play. Okay, he might not have earned it in practice, but you ain't got nothing to lose. Let these guys play before you trade them and let them go and they go somewhere else and blow up. And that's consistently been wrong with the Pistons. But these two guys, Luke Kennard and Stanley Johnson, is really going to be the reason why the Pistons either turn it around for Dwayne Casey or they do the same thing they did for Stan Van Gundy. Seriously, these two are going to be the most vital pieces because they're going to be healthy, and both of them, like it or not, pretty much got all-star potential. But can the Pistons develop? And the Pistons haven't been able to develop talent. That's been the issue. You know, that's been a huge issue. And you know what? I know Luke Kennard gonna come back better next year if he's healthy. I know it. But Stanley Johnson is gonna be the ultimate keys to the locked door. If he comes and hoop and reaches his potential, he come play with confidence. He shoot the ball. He driving it. He become the primary scorer, the primary go-to guy, or or trend toward. He don't got to be that, but trend towards that next season, and he take control. It's best. Let me tell you this, dog. Excuse me. It's best to have Stanley Johnson handling the rock and being assertive and being that guy on the wing and the shot creator than it is for Blake Griffin. It's best for him to control that. It's best for him to be the vocal point of the offense with Luke Kennard, and them two feed off Drummond, well, feed Drummond and Blake Griffin. That's very important. It's time for them to rise up and control the perimeter. It's time for that. And I'm not saying to take the ball completely out of Griffin's hands and stuff of that nature, no. But I think he needs to split some of them reps or them reps handling the ball with Stanley Johnson. I like Blake Griffin. But I understand the Pistons want to try to make this roster work. But it's just my opinion that I thought they should tear it down. But if they can develop Luke Kennard and Stanley Johnson and Reggie Bullock can continue to develop, I could see them getting up there in the East. It's a lot of talent. But if Dwayne Casey's going to have to be the guy to develop this talent, he's going to have to instill confidence in Stanley Johnson and Luke Kennard and Reggie Bullock and them guys. And if he believes in them and they develop, Pistons could go a long way in my opinion. I think they could be the 4th or 5th best team in the East if that happens. But Dwayne Casey going to have to develop, and that's what he did in Toronto. And let's give him a shot. I never was down on Dwayne Casey. I just didn't like the situation for him with Tom Gores. I just think he's an incompetent idiot. But that's just my opinion. But like I said, I appreciate everybody, man. I appreciate you guys for getting us to 1,000. And like I said, I'm gonna do some good things in a year. I'm gonna stay consistent.